What's up, guys? Welcome to the Mad Men Pod. We have a very special guest with us today. Her name is Kelly Helfman, president of Informa Markets, the parent company of Magic, Coterie, and Project. Probably arguably put on the largest fashion trade show in the U.S. and definitely world renowned, I would say. Kelly, last month you were interviewing Martha Stewart and hanging out with Ludacris, and now you're here.
Seriously, what is going on? I live a double life. I think about that all the time. The glam is like 2%, you know? The rest of it is just operating a business, schmoozing, the real deal stuff, you know, handling the P&L.
Yeah, no, you're quite the interviewer. I'll try to do my best to interview you now. Typically, we do duds and suds and we debate and stuff, but you know, it would be a total miss of an opportunity if we didn't have you talk about what you do and how you see branding in the fashion industry.
Oh, thank you. Well, I have loved listening to the show. We can, if a natural dud or stud comes out, we can totally get into it, but I'm so grateful to be here and I love what you guys are doing. So let's get into it. Awesome. Hopefully I don't disappoint.
Yeah, let's do it.
Men go mad.
He's gone mad.
Mad men.
You're mad.
The man's mad.
Mad men.
I'm mad.
All right. So our listeners are not from the fashion industry. They come from different backgrounds. They are bankers and insurance and this and that. But everyone does come to listen to us about business strategies and marketing campaigns and whatnot. But let's learn about you. Tell us about Informa Markets and your role there.
Sure. So I actually run the division of fashion for Informa Markets. So Informa Markets is the largest trade show company in the world. And we have trade shows in all sectors, natural products, aviation, agriculture, you name it. So I operate the fashion trade shows under Informa Markets. Which is a very large business for us. We have about 13 events a year that some of them are co-located, and we serve all demographics and the different price points of the fashion industry. So in a nutshell, our exhibitors, the people who take the booths, have brands, fashion brands, and our buyers, the people walking the floor, are looking to get those brands into their store. So they're order writing at the actual show to carry those brands into their store. So we're serving the wholesale side, B2B part of the fashion industry. So buyers could be anywhere from a small mom and pop boutique, a specialty chain, a department store buyer, an Amazon buyer. And the brands range from a small startup emerging designer to a large brand like a Levi's. And so they're really here to do business, meet with buyers, and hopefully get their brand distributed in all sorts of multi-brand retailers. In a nutshell, that's what we do. We have a bunch of different shows, Project, Coterie, Magic, and Sourcing that serve like the different price points and gender fashion in the whole ecosystem. It's a lot.
That's fantastic. No, and you've been doing it for a while, right? Since I saw 2006.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I started off over 17 years ago as a customer service rep. I was 24. And like who you know, Hannah, I would call and ask the exhibitor for their contract and can you pay your deposit on your booth? And I'd be talking to like the Steve Madden, asking him to please pay his bill or like, it was crazy. It was the most amazing job at 24. I loved it. And then I literally worked my way up and now I oversee the whole fashion group today. I've been through a few acquisitions. We went from private equity to now a publicly traded company in the UK Stock Exchange. So it's been a whirlwind. And honestly, the fashion piece for me has become a little bit less and less. And I more operate a really large business, a P&L for a publicly traded company. So I know all about the things your listeners care about, like margins and delivering for shareholders and opportunities with lead gen and so forth. So I geek out on all the stuff you always talk about.
Actually is a perfect segue. So you obviously work with a lot of brands. How many brands would you say are part of the Informa network?
I mean,
let's focus on
thousands
fashion.
And thousands. I don't even know. Like I know at Magic in Las Vegas alone, it's 2,500 brands,
Wow.
Which equal, hundreds of thousands of square footage in booth space. That's just one show in Las Vegas. So yeah, we're at thousands and thousands of brands. And then we bring in tens of thousands of buyers to shop these shows. So our events are primarily, in New York and Las Vegas. So I have the opportunity to work with brands internationally, domestically, at all levels. So really great exposure to understand what works and what doesn't work.
Out of all these brands, you probably see some that really stand out and get it right. What would you say is probably the shared characteristic of those brands that get it right?
So they do their homework. I talk to, or I used to, especially when I was in sales here, I would talk to a lot of brands that just want to jump right into the trade show and like take a booth. And they really haven't done their homework. They're just a little too green. And I think it's so important. I always suggest if somebody is new to the fashion industry or to the trade show industry and hasn't done a trade show, walk the show first. You don't need to exhibit right away. Like walk the show, do your homework, figure out like how you want to show up appropriately. You know, you want to take the time to market yourself that you're going to be at the show, set appointments. You know, we bring the buyers there, but it's up to you to bring the buyers into your booth. So you want to make sure to do your homework and understand how you're going to show up. So don't jump right into these things last minute. Like you really want to pre-plan. And I think the brands that are the most successful at my shows, especially, do that homework and they don't rush into it. So they walk the show in advance of signing up. They come with a full-blown merchandising plan. They show up beautifully. They do their homework and they set appointments to try to get buyers. They try to have appointments with buyers already. And then the walk by traffic's just a plus. And in terms of the fashion brand, so those are the companies who I believe show up in the most successful way at a trade show.
Yeah.
And this could go for any industry, quite frankly, if you're going to do a trade show. The fashion brands that are the most successful in the industry are the ones that care about the quality, not just like trying to get these garments out with, you know, a big margin and pump that out. They really care about the quality, the message behind the brand. They put a lot of intention into their marketing and their branding, and they just don't try to pump out product and just sell it. The quality is important in fashion because you're going to get a lot of returns and complaints from retailers. And the second you start getting, it spreads, right? Although the fashion industry is large, it's really small. And if you don't have great quality product or you don't, as a retailer, pay the brands on time, that does spread. And so I think to just have a quality product and be really professional, have customer service first. And like what sets your brand apart? You got to be able to sell that story and not just look like every other fashion brand that's out there. Like there's a million t-shirt brands with graphics in the streetwear community. What makes yours different? You got to be buttoned up with that story before you get to the shows.
Yeah, I think that's great. So I'm going to give you, I'll ask for your opinion on our pitch. Our sales team goes, we have like a 3-prong pitch of what we tell people, that we are size inclusive. So we're extra small through 3XL. We have competitive price points and we really focus on value. And then we're really big about community outreach. And so we sponsor a classroom every week. Now, which one of those things would you say in B2B they don't really care about? Or do they care about it all?
I think they're all really important. I think the value, of course, for any business owner, a boutique who's going to buy your brand, the value is the most important. They want to get great product for a low price point, right? Or have a margin builder. It depends. Or if you're in the contemporary business, if they're going to purchase a really expensive dress, they want your brand to have brand equity so the consumer comes in. But at the end of the day, it's the end consumer that cares about all three things you said. So what the buyer boutique, is looking for will kind of lean towards the value, right? A little bit, but they should be thinking about their end consumer, which are all three things you just said. That end consumer wants to know you're inclusive, that you're giving back, and that you have a quality product. The buyer might not be. And so it's our job to educate the buyer to say, hey, and that's what we do at our fashion events. It's our job as leaders in this fashion industry to educate buyers who are buying brands for their stores to say, make sure you're not just thinking about price. You're thinking about quality. You're thinking about are they sustainable? Like this is what this generation cares about. And when you're shopping our show, you have a lot of options. And here's the things that your end consumer is looking for.
Great. So you said something about brand equity, and we always run into this. So we were a wholesale first company. We started getting messages online all the time about, hey, can I buy just direct from you? The local boutique doesn't carry all the sizes, or they don't, they keep running out, or this or that. And so we started a retail website. Naturally, some of our multi-line retailers were not happy about that. What would you say for brands that are trying to dabble and keep both sides of the business happy? What is the angle to go at? And if it is brand equity, what is it about brand equity that they should focus on? Is it the follower count? Is it how many influencers are talking about it? Or is it their why as a business?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all, unfortunately. I think you have to be these days thinking about all of those things. How you're showing up on social, who you're associating yourself with. Like, if I see bots and fake followers, I'm never going to buy something from you and I'm going to unfollow you. Like, they pay attention to all those things, right? What's your purpose? And so being direct to consumer has a lot of responsibility. And I think your example is you did the right thing. At the end of the day, we all have to, listen, I'm in the wholesale side, B2B side of the business. So I can't deny that people should be doing also direct to consumer. You should be doing both, wholesale, direct to consumer, working with influencers, all of it, and having multiple streams of revenue coming in. They're all really important, but you have to, if you're going to put yourself out there, D2C, you have to really be mindful and do it right and prepare. Because if you go wrong on your brand and you make a wrong turn publicly, or you have bad product, whatever that is, all of a sudden you're going to lose your wholesale, because they don't want to represent a brand that they don't believe in or stand for, and how you showed up on social media in a certain way. So it could affect your wholesale business. I think with the wholesalers, it's so important to be transparent out the gate. So you need to let people know. We also have a D2C site. We will have exclusives for wholesale accounts, of course. We really try to be intentional about what products where. We will align on suggested retail, et cetera. So it's not, as we're competitors, we're really strategic in how we work with our wholesalers, our wholesale stores, and how we show up direct to consumer, and having different product, different options, and so forth. So it takes a lot of thought to do this right. And if you just hop on there and throw some product on a website and don't talk to your retailers, and and then have all of this price comparison, the retailers are going to be pissed and be like, well, you're selling it for half the price because you are still making your cut, So you got to be transparent and really strategic when you do that sort of stuff as a brand owner.
Yeah, absolutely. And this isn't necessarily about, my company or my brand, but I think what's important to note is that becoming omni-channel is ever important for every company. And so the reason why I ask these things is because it is really important to have a D2C presence in general. Our multi-line stores do actually follow us on our D2C socials, and they love seeing how we present our stuff. And I think you said it right, like not competing with our own customers is really key. We talked a little bit about brand equity and everything just now, but recently it seems like there's some celebrities coming back to the trade shows, and that was commonplace before. And then it went away. They went direct to consumer on all their product launches and their brand launches, but now it seems to be coming back. What do you think is causing that change?
Yeah, gosh. I mean, I think a lot is just what happened in the fashion market, right? Like in the 90s, 2000s, when I started in 2006, like every single celebrity hip hop artist was launching their brand at Magic, right? House of Dairy on Beyonce, Rockaware Jay-Z, like Apple Bottoms, all these, it was wholesale first, right? And it was incredible because they would take these extraordinary double-decker, such expensive, not cost-effective booths. And it was really a marketing event. And everybody was there, and it was just such a scene. And it was a different day because you didn't have online. Nobody shopped online. And then fast forward to 2013, people start shopping online and social media, and now influencers are selling clothes, and you can get access everything. And so, of course, all those celebrities decided, I'm going to go D2C. is wholesale, if wholesale was a big question mark for a minute, like, are department stores still going to be around? Is the corner store boutique in the shopping center down the road gonna survive? Like, we weren't sure for a minute. And so I think the celebrities took their approach of, I have a following now on Instagram. Why wouldn't I just cut out the middleman and sell this directly? Totally makes sense. However, wholesale did not go anywhere. It's very strong and healthy. And they realized, oh no, if I mean, look at like a Skims or a Good American. They launched direct to consumer and now they're in department stores. That's part of their strategy, wholesale. And so we're seeing more and more, not just celebrity brands, but all brands who were going to be digitally native D2C say, oh, wait, wholesale is a very strong stream for me and it's very healthy. And actually, I need to go back to the shows or if they ever skipped out in general, but I need to be at the shows to meet these buyers. I mean, where else can you meet tens of thousands of buyers in one place? And they're very conscious and limited in their distribution, who they want to sell to as a celebrity and whatnot, and who they're going to associate their brand with in what store. But they have access to all of that in one place. So I've loved it. Like, actually, in the recent, past year or two, post-pandemic, we saw Katy Perry with her footwear at Project, and the D'Amelio girls just launched their footwear with us. And we have Honor the Gift, Russell Westbrook's brand, who's been a part of our show for a while. So they are doing both direct to consumer as well as doing our shows to write wholesale and B2B multi-brand stores.
I was just reading earlier today that Kylie is trying to buy 51% of Kylie Cosmetics back. Celebrity-backed brands is... It used to just be, hey, come on as an influencer almost, and just but now these celebrities are actually holding major equity in these brands. So D'Amelio Footwear is a perfect example. They're not just the whole brand is around them. And they're holding major stake in them. It's not just like a flat rate pay.
Well, and Mark, the dad, grew up in our industry. He ran brands and he grew up at Magic in his career. So he knows how to do this, which makes it a lot easier. But yes, you're right. They're buying, Katy Perry, bought back into her brand when things were tough. And now she's got a real stake in the game and she's involved. I think probably what you're saying about these beauty brands too, with the Kylie, you start feeling once you're out of the picture that it's losing maybe what it was about, and you need to bring it back home if it's going to have your name on it. And so then they always go, okay, I sold it, I made this, but shoot, it's really not feeling authentic to me anymore. And I'd like to have that back if it's going to be associated with me.
Does having a celebrity tied to your brand do you skip to the front of the line in terms of relevancy and popularity just because you have that celebrity? Or do you know of other brands that are doing it just as good, if not better, without a celebrity?
Yeah. So for your first question, I think that just slapping a celebrity's name on and doing a licensing deal or whatever that is not some ticket to success. There's so much that goes behind it. And we also have a licensing show. And I have seen so many people collaborate or launch something with a celebrity and it's not that successful. I've seen those brands at the show and then it's nothing. So I think it's really when that celebrity is involved and it's authentic to them and they could for real get on their social platforms and pitch it and believe it and own it and say what, just like you said, the why. If they could give the why, then it's going to be successful. But if they are just slapping their name on it and has nothing to do with it, you feel that inauthenticity. You feel it. You're this is it. I almost feel like I'm getting cheated in a way. So some people don't know and they'll be naive and they're just super fans. But at the end of the day, people can feel the authenticity if the person is really behind the brand or not. So I think it is not it's for sure going to be successful if you pay this deal and this person slapped on. I mean, gosh, because they did a great job branding. Maybe they worked with, instead of taking, $1 million and working with one celebrity, they took that $1 million or a smaller budget and worked with micro influencers or, 10 top influencers to have a different type of reach, a more authentic reach. Like there is and even a small brand, an emerging brand. I mean, yeah, does it take longer? You have small budgets. You can't do a bunch of organic advertising through affiliate links, whatever that might be. Like it just takes more time. But I think at the end of the day, you have to have authenticity behind the brand and be really creative and know your audience. And like the strategy could be totally different and super successful. We see it all the time. There's been a million brands that started off at Magic. I remember like Desigual started off with like a 10 by 20. And then they became this huge brand with their own retail stores. And they just stayed. I mean, Brandy Melville started off there. And now they're this like, they have such a hardcore fan following. They stay true to like that casual girl, the comfort, the like less is more, the whatever, it's one size fits most, which is so wrong. But I think they really created a tribe around them and they marketed it properly with zero celebrity endorsement.
Fabletics has two big names behind it, in Kate Hudson and Kevin Hart, and nowhere near Lululemon. And Lululemon does not put celebrities at the forefront at all.
Exactly.
So I think you're absolutely right. Yeah. And Lululemon is all about their why.
Yeah, it's their why. It's their quality. It's their like, they really have great product. And they created this like, that little symbol means something. And, it doesn't matter if you're like a mom that is, in the suburbs in her late 50s or a girl that's 18 that wants to wear those pants out to the club with like a high heel. Like people want that. And they've created an amazing story and quality product. What
brands are you, attracted to now or shopping with now that maybe you weren't 2 years ago?
Oh gosh! First of all, because I'm in fashion, I have my own clothing line. So I know my own clothing line. My mom had a retail store when I was growing up. So I, like a true fashion person, am always flip flopping. Like my style changes every 6 months. I wear a ton of vintage too, so that doesn't help anybody. But I love vintage clothes. I love to thrift, all that. Right now, I am loving brands like Nanushka and Stout and Gani and like Simon Miller. It's basically like the new women's contemporary brands, not like commercial contemporary. Like they are kind of contemporary for the cool kids. They have more simplistic style, but sexy. They maybe do like 12 SKUs in all different colors. It's like, it's worth, and it's not crazy expensive. It's not like, I'm going to have to go luxury prices. It's like right in the middle for me. So I've been buying a lot of those brands, all which do not have celebrity endorsements, I don't think. They're just cool and they do amazing photo shoots and the way that they market themselves is great. And then I'm like, I just ordered 2 pairs of Adidas yesterday, Gazelles and Sambas. So I wear those with everything.
Yeah, Sambas are coming back, huh?
I'm still like a New Balance girl. I also buy anything that has a Keith Haring collab because I'm a huge Keith Haring fan. So like if it's Coach or Hugo Boss just did a Keith Haring collab or Reebok does a shoe with Keith Haring on it, like Obey back in the day, I will buy anything with Keith Haring because I am his biggest fan. And if you live in LA, you need to go to the Broad ASAP to see that exhibit.
All right. Keith Haring. Yeah. I honestly, none of those brands I've heard of, and that means I'm doing something wrong. But if there was any
like women's fashion, like like fangirl stuff.
Well, and if there was any doubt, Kelly Helfman confirmed that she's one of the cool kids because that's what the cool kids wear.
I try.
It's so natural to talk about consumer marketing and like how to get more eyeballs on social media and like what disruptive things people are doing on a large scale to get the general public to look at you. What are businesses doing to get eyeballs on them? Whether it's at a trade show or digitally. Let's talk both.
It's so important. I can't, and this is not just because I run trade shows for a living, but I don't care what sector you're in. If you are looking to, it's a marketing event and it's brand exposure. And these trade show companies are spending so much money to get eyeballs, as you're saying, actual people and feet into these convention centers. And it's part of building your business. And usually I tell people it takes 3 times to show up at a trade show and be successful and start seeing real profit, because they'll see you the first time and they'll be like, who knows if this like company's real, and they're going to show up, deliver. I don't know. They see you the second time and they're like, okay, I remember that company last time. Let me take a look at that product. They're getting a little bit more curious. Third time, they're like, oh, they're here to stay. They're delivering. I've seen them online a little bit. I've seen people buying this brand. I'm ready to commit. So I do think that if people are trying to sell product to retailers, doesn't matter if it's in the food sector, if it's whatever it is, fashion, I think going to these shows are part of the whole strategy, and you have to allocate budget to it. I think digitally, there's a lot of opportunity too, but it's always on content for me. So like to constantly be engaging your network, your community, putting yourself out there, marketing yourself, emails, but you don't want to over email. So to your point, it's like omni-channel. What are the different types of channels you're doing to hit up these people and build trust? And so writing all those channels right now, like on a piece of paper, like I can go to the trade show. How am I going to market my brand? How am I going to make, and going like, here's social media, here's email. Here's, look, you're doing a podcast, push products that way. That could be a way, here's the trade shows, and really, do I have an advertising budget, an influencer budget, and really figuring out what's the right setup for me to do business. I just feel like so many people, I don't know if you feel this way, just like jump in it and pray and like throw something at the wall and hope it's going to stick. And it just takes a lot. And if somebody's showing up to your podcast, they're taking the first step because they're investing in themselves to learn more about like marketing and branding. A lot of people don't take the opportunity to get all this amazing free resources and tips to be able to enhance their business.
We were like that for a really long time, is we just like throw something at the wall and just hope and pray. One example I think back to, we had tried partnering with this like viral studio that just focuses on Southern videos. They do really relatable videos that are for people in the South. And I think we paid them like 50 grand or something silly for 4 videos of just product placement. And when I tell you, like, it did not generate anything. I mean, we ordered extra product and everything. And these videos were getting millions of views, but there's no conversion. And we had no clue about that at the time. That was not something we'd think about. It's just this natural tendency. We like, oh, there's like, millions of views on this. Even if we get, 0.5% conversion, that could be awesome, right? Views does not necessarily mean conversion. We know that now. And not only that, but like eyeballs or people walking by, it could be a really busy trade show even. And it may not be a good trade show for us. And that doesn't mean that we did something wrong. It's just maybe the clientele walking by.
Ask the right questions. And really, that's how you learn. I mean, we learn from our failures. And if you don't take chances, I mean, why are we in this world? I think also like for the trade show, it's like, what's going in with expectations of like, what's your realistic like expectations that's going to give you your ROI for getting a booth?
Yeah.
If your booth all in cost is 50 grand, the first time you might say breaking even or coming in at 30 grand is a success. And then time number 2, I need to make sure to break even at the bare minimum. And then by number 3, or is it the quantity of buyers and orders, or is it the quality of people you're meeting? Just getting a meeting or with Nordstrom and Bloomingdale's, and not having like 50 random orders from little stores, that those 2 relationships is all you need to say, you know what, I really got my value out of this cost. So I think taking a step back and really setting those standards and saying it might be quality over quantity. I was able to get this versus that. And just, when you're going to sign up for these things, and that's why I say, do your due diligence, go walk the show, ask the questions. What should I expect? Like, then you're going to be more clear going into it, what to expect on your ROI and what you need to do.
Yeah. I think people, buyers, whether B2B or D2C, they all look for some sort of experience. And I think, at Magic, you guys get that really right. Like you guys have live performances. That's where Ludacris was. That's what was the reference earlier. T-Pain was awesome. I saw him last year with you guys. That was really good. But people are hungry for that, and they really come to these shows for that experience as well. And so I think being present with as a brand in person and digitally, like content, I think you hit it right on the head. You have to be available in both places.
Always on. Yeah. That's one of the things I've done really differently since I have been overseeing this fashion group for the past 3 years is trying to have more fun and more experience in these trade shows is key. People, you know, you can have the best brands in the show and all this for them to see, but they want fun, especially if they're going to invest to leave their homes, leave their children, pay for hotel, pay for flights, all that. They want to work hard and play hard. They want a lot of fun. Yeah. They want education. They want resources. They want parties. They want, swag bags. They want Instagram moments and to get content for their own social. And so you have to work 10 times harder these days than we did 15 years ago to put on a successful trade show because there's so much more expectation and people want a lot of value. Where before it's like, I'm just going to focus on giving this amazing curated assortment of the best brands in the industry for you to shop. International, this one-stop shop, best bang for your buck for 3 days. You can get all your buying in. And it's like, no, you can't. So we have created this atmosphere to be like, we are going to optimize your time and you're the blast. And you're not going to be able to not say, I can't come back next show. And it's honestly, it's paying off. It's free. You get T-Pain and Luda for free, honey.
My wife and I always rock, paper, scissors on who gets to go to the next show. So,
oh, I love that. Can't you both go?
She won the next one. She'll be there in February. I do want to get your take on a few different marketing strategies that kind of came to light this week. Guess what beauty brand is teaming up with Krispy Kreme? Hailey Bieber's Rhode Beauty and Krispy Kreme have launched a limited edition collaboration featuring Krispy Kreme strawberry glazed donuts. Hailey Bieber has been known for her glazed donut look. And she posted that on YouTube years ago, and it's always been one that people still reference. She took to the Big Apple for this launch. So here's the debate. Collabs sometimes work, and sometimes they don't. So is this Krispy Kreme and Rhode Beauty collab going to be a thing, or is it going to fall flat?
Fall flat.
Think fall flat?
I was really into the Erewhon shake she did because I have one near my house with like her, but no, I'm like Krispy Kreme is not on brand for her brand.
Yeah, it's a little odd, right? I mean, Krispy Kreme you would think is like, it just does not say chic or sexy in any way, and
it's a reach.
Yeah,
she'll sell no matter what though. She'll sell, but the brand gurus and the fancy pants girls, we're not going to be into it. I was like, we're not going to be into it.
That's it's really interesting because I think it's kind of a stud for her because we saw what happened a few months ago. The internet came for her. Everyone was Team Selena. It's felt like a few months ago. So in that sense, her coming back and I think this is good for her. People are talking and, it was really just for Labor Day launch. And I think Krispy Kreme even needed this. So, what are you talked about a few collabs earlier. What would you say are other collabs that maybe really did attract you?
I love, and these are not celebrity related. Now I'm thinking about it, but I was saying earlier how I love Keith Haring. Like when MAC Cosmetics teams up with like a Keith Haring license, or you have like ColourPop and Disney, those are smart because Disney is, you have so many Disney fans and that's such a wide reach, like Krispy Kreme is. So I think it's really about the specific collab you do and your target audience. It has to make sense. I don't know. Those two I love though. Like I still like Crooks and Castle and Snoop Dogg.
I thought they did a really good job on that.
Like that makes sense for me. Like some of them are just such a reach. I'm like, oh, that just feels weird.
So there's this kind of leads me to the next question. Ralph Lauren recently said that they're going to go more premium, right? And this week, Fossil is announced a whole new launch at New York Fashion Week, where they're really trying to go more premium route. Fossil is still holding to that vintage look, as they're saying that they want to do premium materials with a vintage look, and they're really not changing their look at all. But what they have gone after is the same thing that Ralph Lauren is doing, is the premiumization of their products. Is this something that could actually work? I mean, after the general public already starts to buy you and then you say, no, just kidding, we're raising our prices and we're going to go more premium. Can it work? Or once you're Gen Pop, then you're Gen Pop?
No, I think that it works if they keep some of the mainstream commercial business and launch a new line within it. So like, they have Polo, but like Ralph was always higher. If they do another one with the core business still there, that could work. And we've seen it with Levi's and like handcrafted, I think, those sort of things. Or, but when you are just trying to make all Fossil that is an uphill battle. And you have to have the best marketers and branders on your team for sure. I think that if you're already at a bit of a premium luxury level, like we saw Ferragamo was like starting to not be really relevant. And then Ferragamo, like all of a sudden people are wearing it and it's cool. And you're like, wow, okay, they're back on them and the logo's different. Everybody's interested and they're investing in like who's at their shows. And now it's being talked about. It's harder when you're a more of a mainstream commercial brand. I mean, let's look at many things. Karl Lagerfeld's brand. We can look at like Michael Kors, and having multiple levels. It's tough.
So you talked about some of these premium brands. What should someone like Balenciaga do? Like after having the PR nightmare they just went through?
Remove the logo from everything. First of all, logo mania is dying as quiet luxury comes up. We need to all like back it up a minute on all the logos all over everything, as I have like my logo right here. But but I feel like they slapped on Balenciaga on everything. And now that all shook out, like, I don't want to be like rocking that for all the opinions in the world. So I want their beautiful bag, but maybe they can shrink it or not put it on or just do a B instead of the full work. Like, I think somebody like them needs to also partner more and more with organizations to make up for that SHIT show and really like give back more and more. I know they've made some statements, but it's just not enough. And so I think it's like, if you really want to sell product, you got to remove the logo or lessen that and everything. And then really hire a new designer. I mean, it needs a whole flip. You got to prune. You got to prune all the bad in order to like really relaunch that in a new way.
Absolutely. So a few episodes ago, we talked about Gap hiring a new CEO for the parent company over Old Navy, Banana, and Gap. What are some mainstream brands you would say that are due for a resurgence?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I got to think about that one. I think there's a lot, and I'm not sure like how much I should say because some of them might have exhibited with us in the past. But if I'm thinking like high level luxury brands, I think that Dolce & Gabbana did a really good job with the Kardashians recently, partnering with them. So they're actually an example of one I thought needed a resurgence and then killed it by that whole partnering press tour with the Kardashians. So kudos to them. I think like Marc Jacobs needs more than just the tote. So Marc was such a big deal and Ferragamo has done a really good job getting more relevant again. I think Gucci needs another one. I think we did good for a while, but we've seen what's happening for quite a long time and we need like what's next for them. I wonder where Burberry's going to go. It's been a couple of years since we saw the new stuff from Burberry. So us fashion heads want it to continuously evolve and not just stop there. It's like every 3 years, we need to like reinvent and get somebody new and fresh and put new stuff out there. So we've been doing a lot for a while. I think Fendi's doing a good job though right now. They're doing incredible. Prada's killing it.
Well, one thing you said about Burberry, I think Burberry is working on something big, in my opinion, because they recently talked about their logo redesign. They're going back to their more ornate logo. They're walking away from their sans serif, like simple font Burberry logo. So I wonder if there's something on the cusp that they're going to launch. So that's always exciting. And that always seems to be kind of the precursor, is like, hey, we did a logo redesign. And then suddenly a few months later, you start to see a whole new collections and, a whole new look come across.
Logo. Like, here's the thing. The logo has a purpose, but don't just redo yeah, that's another strategy. I think Dior's doing a good job in a lot of ways as well with how they show up in fashion weeks, and they're doing different stuff. And but I don't know, you have to really, that market is so competitive, and there's a pressure to constantly be evolving the collections and being different.
I do want to ask you about Walmart. Walmart is recently came out and said that they're going to really focus on fashion moving forward. So they're redesigning a lot of their stores. They're doing like 300 at a time or so. But I didn't know this number, but I saw it and it was super staggering. 140 million people shop in a US Walmart in person or online every single week. 140 million. So their fashion arm did about 30 billion last year. So still quite behind Amazon. Amazon was around 67 billion. Walmart's in second place. So what their executive vice president, Denise Incandela, said that, that they really want to focus on fashion. So they're hiring people from Nordstrom and Neiman Marcus and Saks and really high end, but then they're also hiring from Target and Kohl's. So they're trying to get it right this time. Do you potentially see Walmart becoming a player in the fashion industry for the general public?
I mean, because of my sourcing show and the business I do feel like they have been a player in the standpoint that you're saying. Like, they've been coming to our shows for years and really putting a lot of effort into fashion, and it's quality product at a great price point. And they work with a lot of celebrities and do a lot of collabs. So they already were on the map for me. I think if you don't live near one, and I think it's more the ambiance in those stores. I think that it will be successful if they could change the experience and the feel of what it feels like when you walk into those stores. Because it just feels different from Target. You walk into Target, you can get a Starbucks and shop. And it feels very clean and well merchandised and not a hodgepodge. You walk into a Walmart, I think it's a McDonald's or a Burger King, and it feels
Subway
like,
now.
yeah, I forget, it's not a Starbucks. And then I could see the grocery aisles right from the entrance, and like the merchandising is different. I think they could be very successful if they solve for the in-store experience, number one. Because the fashion, it could be great. It's just we got to get more people in there and more buzz on who's creating these lines and selling them on stores and making them a little bit more exclusive so they sell out fast. So all of the collabs we've ever seen with Target, it's so smart how they drop it and then they run out and then they redrop it. And then, it creates the demand. It's going to take this new group of marketing experts from the fashion community to really help them through the marketing. And then they got to fix the in-store experiences.
I think you're right. If they can somehow figure out where, my wife is, despite owning a clothing company, she still is proud to say that she still gets some stuff from Target. At what point will people feel comfortable to say, oh, I got this from Walmart, and feel just as proud?
That's
if
right.
They can
it's going to take
a
lot more than just the investment in the fashion, folks. Like, it's going to take a whole rebrand and the experience in the store.
Yeah, I didn't even think about, and there's some brands that just feel like they just belong together, like Subway, McDonald's, and Walmart. They feel like they're all cousins, right? And then like Chick-fil-A, Starbucks, and Target just feel like cousins in a separate family. Like there's just something about these brands that they do focus on experience, and they focus on quality in a different way that makes you feel like, oh, they just go together. They just work well together.
And like they were doing Kathy Ireland at Walmart, and then you're doing Gwen Stefani at Target. Like it is a different It's a different approach, and there is a customer for everybody. I've walked into a million Walmarts and my kids like love it. And we loved getting jammies from there sometimes, or socks. But like, do I approach the activewear section the same way I approach the activewear section at Target? No, it doesn't. It's for me, it's about the merchandising, the quality, the branding of it. I've seen that Target brand over and over and recognize it now.
I do want everyone to know about your new podcast. So it's called Custom Made. You got to tell us about it.
Yeah, I called it a custom made podcast because it's really about bettering yourself and living your best life and more of growth, self-growth. But I love fashion, obviously. So it's like custom made clothes. You could be one of a kind and authentic to you. So it's a little bit of the fashion spin with what I'm talking about on the podcast. But honestly, it has nothing to do with my work. This is all Kelly Helfman, me project, and something I know I've had to do for a long time. It's crazy because at my shows, I'm always public speaking and talking in front of thousands of people. I have never been so scared to launch a podcast where I'm behind a screen to put myself out there for criticism, because I can't blame it on work. It's a little bit more foreign for me. But really it's about self-discovery. And what I do is I have solo episodes as well as I interview guests like you do. And it's in all sectors of life to just help you. So it's around personal challenges and real life experiences, professional, career. So a lot of gurus talking about how they can help you in specific topics. So entrepreneurship is definitely one of them, and business and career tips, working your way up the corporate ladder maybe, or how to set yourself apart and like be recognized for promotion, all the way to like how to get through the hardest times in your life. What are 10 things that I did specifically, step by step, like the exact resources, the exact books, the exact Facebook groups I joined to like get through my divorce. So very relatable topics to just be a better you and to help you out. And so I've interviewed like Nikki Lunn, Richie Sambora's ex already, and an energy healer who takes us through a guided meditation and tells you, like, when you're around people with bad energy, how do you like stop them from affecting you? You know, how do you use affirmations in your daily practice, all the way to like talking to a financial planner or a wealth manager who teaches you how to start investing your money. Like, I have nowhere to start. How do you budget and manage your spending and invest your money? So it's really fun. You can check it all out at the Custom Made Podcast on Instagram, and it has all the links in bio to listen. And we're on YouTube and all the listening platforms. So
that's awesome. And guys, I mean, I think Kelly, your style is very approachable and everything, but I got to let everyone know what she does is super hard. It's very inspirational to watch. And so your line of work is already very stressful, and you are clearly a high performer in being able to work your way up in such a wonderful way. I've seen it over the years. Very, very inspirational.
I'm honored, and gosh, I have some tips to learn from you on the podcasting thing.
Well, we're 12 episodes deep now, so we got a little bit of rhythm going. But guys, thank you for joining us. Kelly, thank you again.
Thank you.
Mad.
He's gone mad.
Madman.
You're mad.
The man's mad.
Madman.
I'm mad.